Welcome to JasonWhiskyWise. My name is Jason. Welcome to this whiskey review here on my channel. We're going to be continuing on my Halloween theme, and that is into the Bruichladdich Black Art. So in this video, we're going to be reviewing the Black Art 5.1, and in the last video, we reviewed the 4.1. So 4.1 is 1990, and if you missed that video, I'll leave it in the top corner. 5.1 is 1992, and it's from my birth year. So this was something I picked up as a special gift for myself for my birthday, and I never got around to opening it, and I thought this would be the perfect time. So let's get into the actual review of the Black Art 5.1. I'm going to top up my dram, and let's get into it. So this one here is a 24-year-old whiskey from the vintage of 1992. And it's actually the first creation of the new master distiller at the Bruichladdich distillery called Adam Hannett. So this is his first ever Black Art creation, as the last one, 4.1, was from Jim McEwen. Now this one's bottled at 48.4% ABV, and the cask selection, again, as it's a Bruichladdich Black Art, is unknown to humanity, as we so to speak. It's only known by Adam Hannett himself, and he's got a notebook where he keeps notes of everything he blends together for the Black Art. And they've just released the 6.1, so if you guys would like to see that, I'll leave it as a comment of the day. Let me know in the comments, would you like to see a review on the Black Art 6.1? Because it's something I think would be great to see if it's been a development in a good way or development maybe in a bad way. Now the distillery itself is the Bruichladdich distillery. They are owned by the parent company Remy Cointreau, and they are located on Islay, Scotland. Now the price point on this bottle over here, it's £275. So the 4.1, 225. That one, £50 more. And it was the new edition. Now, in terms of exclusivity, it is, and it's limited to 12,000 bottles. So you're now seeing a double in the actual amount of bottles available, because the 4.1 was 6,000, this one, 12,000. A lot more of this available on the market. Now, is it exclusive? Yes. And does it contain caramel color? No. Bruichladdich like to be as transparent as possible. So without further ado, I can't wait to jump into the nosing of this one. Let's get into the nose. Into the nose. Kicking things off on the actual nose of the 5.1. Wow, you're getting a lot of bourbony characters. It's almost like you're smelling a freshly, a very heavily toasted bourbon barrel coming through on this one. A lot of vanilla custard, salted caramel, even salted almonds on that one. That little bit of coastal character working its way through. Marzipan. Even there's now this it's now gone into this almost like a sweeter red flavor character, so like red berries, raspberries. It's actually got a note which I just recently tried, and that is hibiscus tea. One thing you can really find really incredible is these different flavored teas. If you ever get a chance to develop your palate further, try different flavored teas, and you'll then see when you pick out different notes on whiskies, you'll find these tea characters really coming in handy. Cherry drops. Again, that note of cherry, which I found on the actual 4.1, I'm now finding it on the 5.1 on the nose. A sweet honey character as well, really just sort of caressing this one on the nose. And there is that little bit of a musky, almost like as if you've gone into the dunnage or into a warehouse. If any of you've ever been into an actual warehouse and you've gone down an area where they're actually maturing sherry casks, and you can smell that sweet sort of almost like a damp character in the air. That sort of note, that sweet musky character on the nose. There is a faint little hint of citrus, and it's like a sweet citrus again. Maybe even candied citrus. Yeah, candied citrus peel. I have to go with that one on that one. And to finish this one up on the nose, a little bit of a note to me that's like caramel. I wanted to say toffee, but this is more like a toasted caramel. Nice and sweet. Gorgeous nose. Let's get into the palate next. Slanger. Let's get started on the palate next. So the 5.1, arrival on the palate, you're greeted again with a nice, rich, full mouth coating texture from this whiskey. But first things up, you're getting a bit more spicy characters. That peppery character is back, but it's almost a bit more powerful, and it's got hints of cloves. Not sweet cloves, a little bit stronger, pungent, clovey characters working its way through. From that, you develop a slight bitter character, that licorice that I found even on the 4.1, is now on the 5.1. And you get a bit of a leathery, even a sweet tobacco character on the actual palate for this whiskey. You do get a little bit of this sweet citrus, a bit of nectarines, a little bit of clementines, adding a little bit of a sweeter character. Maybe even for me, grapefruit peel, maybe even a grapefruit slice. So a bit of the peel and the actual insides of the grapefruit. But then you go into these darker, fruitier characters. There's prunes, a little bit of raisins, and predominantly a lot of figs. And these are ripe figs coming on the palate. Then off that, you get a little bit more of this spicy character. And for me, it's like a spiced apple which develops. And it goes between this little bit of spiciness and fruitiness backwards and forwards before then just holding its way through and kind of leaving quite a long finish on the palate. But that's about it for the actual palate. Let's get into our comments on the finish, and we'll come to our conclusion on the Black Art 5.1. Finally, to conclude the Bruichladdich Black Art 5.1, on the finish for this whiskey, this has a nice, very rich, full character, and it's got a nice, long finish. But what the notes you get on the actual finish of this one are quite winey. It almost reminds me of those nice blackcurrant wine gums that you get in those wine gum sweet pack. You get hints of that vanilla toasted character, which is very consistent from the palate, from the nose palate into the finish. And then you get a bit of brown sugar, really just sort of caressing and just looking after the ends of the palate, a dash of spice. And again, for me, a little bit of citrus really coming through, and it's quite a strong grapefruit citrus character just on the end of this whiskey. In terms of my actual rating and comparing it to the 4.1, for me, I personally like the 4.1 much more, and that's completely just being honest. And for me, I bought that one myself. In terms of the rating, though, what I was going to give it, around about 87, 88. But for me, I'm going to give it an 89. And the reason behind that is this one actually develops. And if you give this whiskey, and I'm going to highly recommend, if any of you got the 5.1, give this whiskey a lot more time, and it will then really start to open up its character. If you don't have that time option available, a few drops of water opens this one up completely, and it does take it to another level. For me, though, the price at $275 versus $225, that £50 price increment is a bit too much for me. I think that's taken away the charm of the Black Art, and I've been told the new 6.1 is going to be around about $280. So that's, I think, a bit too much. I would like to see Bruichladdich bring that down to maybe 200, 225. That's acceptable. 250 tops. But adding water to this one, time definitely do add a lot of, well, give it some time. It does have a lot of these bourbon characters, and I do feel there's a lot of bourbon casks used in this specific one. I would really like to speak to actually the master distiller, Adam Hanna. I know he's not going to tell me, but there's certain things that when you speak to someone, you can just get a gist of what they like a little bit more. And I've got a feeling it's more bourbon cask oriented with a little bit of wine cask finished at the end. So that's going to be it for my review. 89 out of 100. Let me know your thoughts if you tried it down below in the comments. And also let me know if I should review the 6.1, if I should go find it and review it on the channel. But if you guys have enjoyed the video, drop it a thumbs up, as it always does help us on the channel. I'll leave the Black Art 4.1 up here, and also my subscribe button over there. Feel free to hit it if you're new to my channel. It's been me, JasonWhiskyWise, Silent Mr. Bananas, and we'll catch you for the next video. Sláinte.